In 1932, Australia found itself in an unusual conflict, a war against emu, the large flightless birds native to the country. It all began when thousands of emus descended on Western Australia's farmlands. Attracted by newly cultivated wheat fields, these birds ravaged crops and damaged fences, creating a nightmare for farmers already struggling with drought and falling wheat prices. The farmers, many of whom were ex-soldiers familiar with military tactics, petitioned the government for help. In response, the Australian government deployed soldiers, armed with machine guns, to tackle the so-called emu problem. What followed was a bizarre and somewhat comical military campaign known as the Great Emu War. The soldiers arrived with 2 Lewis light machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, ready to wipe out the emu population estimated to be around 20,000 birds. But the emus proved to be surprisingly fast and elusive, breaking into smaller groups that made them difficult targets. When the soldiers opened fire, the machine's guns often jammed, and few birds were actually killed, despite thousands of rounds being fired. After only a few days, the military's efforts became a national embarrassment. Reports described the emus as guerrilla fighters who outsmarted the soldiers at every turn. The media and politicians joked that the emus were the true victors of the conflict, with the Australian House of Representatives lightheartedly debating who deserved medals, the birds or the soldiers. Despite a brief withdrawal, the army returned for a second campaign, which was slightly more effective but still fell short of eradicating the nuisance. In total, around 1,000 emus were killed, but this was a small fraction compared to their massive population that continued to damage farms. Eventually, the military abandoned the effort, leaving farmers to find other solutions. The government started supplying ammunition for bounty hunting and invested in expanding fencing to protect crops. The Great Emu War remains a legendary example of nature prevailing humorously over man's might, proving that sometimes the wildlife can outwit even the most advanced weaponry. So, while the Australian army had machine guns, it was the cunning and speed of the emus that won this peculiar war.